Uh, Yes, I have one. Yeah. Hey, yes, hi. Very well. How's it going?
That's my whole life in the community center. Yeah, so I got the building painted, breaking up the new
Yep.
flooring in. Next week, the flooring should be done, and then new HVAC's going in.
What do we do with the,
It's gonna be a community center.
which means what? You can have a meeting, you can have a meeting there or something like that?
Yeah. It's gonna be, it's gonna be a section off, like fitness,
Okay.
kids section. The middle's gonna be like a senior section, a lounge section, back room, like maybe like Peloton, fitness equipment. It's gonna be kind of like a multi.
Is that with the breaks?
Flexible. Yep. Anytime meetings there.
Okay, let's do this. Have you started on the breaks yet?
Programs are in there now, lately, we shut them down
All right.
before. I'm expecting to have fitness.
Yeah, why don't you do everything except the breaks? Let me talk with my wife when I get home. I'm in a meeting right now. And she's going to want it done, and we'll schedule that separately.
It's big enough for one whole side, I'll show you that map, but.
All right, do everything except the breaks. All right.
It's going on well, city council.
I'll be by this afternoon and pick it up.
Everything, so.
All right, bye-bye.
Yeah, and then everybody has their idea of what you want building fitting. So, you know what, I'm gonna do what I think first, and then surprisingly, accept it.
You know enough now that you're not gonna please
No,
hardly anybody. You know,
I gave up on that.
you just do what you have to do.
I learned very quick. In fact, I haven't done it all. I came from a private and nonprofit, so I'm doing something like this some way.
It'd be nice
It is
if-
small.
It would be nice if someone would give you instructions on what to do there, but
No,
absolutely.
shit, I think I'd rather not.
It depends how much time you.
As long as whatever he says is do.
Well, that's giving you instructions.
He's a boss. Yeah, I get along with that.
Paul isn't.
Hey, it's me. I'm just starting my meeting. Reagan's just called. It's $1,140 with all 4 breaks done. I told him to do everything except the 4 breaks, and that I'll come by and pick the car up. And then you should call them if you want them to proceed with the breaks today or tomorrow. So I'll leave it up to you if you want to. He said they need to be done, but it's a little bit more than I anticipated. So I'll leave that up to you. If you want to have it done, call Riggins and say, go ahead with the brake job.
Programs there. Moving valuation for us. And then I'm gonna do something for Grand Oak. Maybe nice. Give us like, give us more time, but other than that, environmental. This is not really somebody. Way above that. But they got it.
Who's that? Why everyone else is here?
Kim's the only one that says she's like, thanks.
Motion to adjourn?
Steve, yes, his meeting.
We'll wait 5 minutes.
We'll wait till 11 o'clock.
We'll wait 5 minutes. Morning.
Hello.
How is everyone? Good. Kind of feels like spring. Yeah. The light is changing, which is really nice.
We'll be planting radishes soon.
Yeah, I actually was researching chicken coops
Oh.
and yeah, Mike, my 16-month-old son eats 4 scrambled eggs for breakfast.
Okay.
My 5-year-old son eats 3. We go through 2 dozen eggs a week. It's insane. And I'm not even complaining about the price. It is what it is. Just the inconvenience of always running out of eggs. I'm like,
I grew up in Bonneville, I had to always feed, we had ducks and we had to feed them all the time.
we're
Yeah.
getting chickens. Like, I'm tired of this. Like, and the 5-year-old is so excited about harvesting vegetables. Like, he'll go out and collect the eggs and he'll be great and can earn his allowance. And so Danny asked me what I wanted for my birthday.
It's funny, one Thanksgiving, my grandparents used to, we had geese, right, so we had to grill from beginning of the morning, you chop the head off the goose, you
It's like-
grilled it, you
right.
steamed it, you feathered it,
Wow.
and you ate it after the grill.
Right. You singe the hairs off.
What I do remember was that goose would pop all around afterwards.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
What's that? Absolutely. Well, somebody still does it, but not a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, good life lesson, and then they can like eat the compost, and it'll be good. I'm excited. Yeah. He asked me what I wanted for my birthday, which is next week, and I told him a chicken coop. So he is on it. Yeah.
Chicken coop, they might need a fence around the chicken coop.
Well, because of the hawks and the coyotes, I think we're gonna have to do a caged-in run and then have a like wire mesh skirt kind of buried a few inches under the ground, because the coyotes will just tunnel. We don't have a dog, no. We have cats who are also
You
gonna
know-
torture the
Home Depot used to have, they were kits for chicken coop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they still do.
Tractor Supply also.
Tractor Supply has
probably,
them.
But, I don't know.
That sounds good, that's it.
But they wouldn't last long without a fence out there.
No, and even
Wile E.
a
Coyote is everywhere.
ceiling. We,
You got a lot of critters out there where you were.
I have a video of it, 2 coyotes, like a foot off the back deck the other morning, just hanging out, running around. 0, and they looked well fed. They were, it's like the end of winter and they were chunky.
They're not mangy.
A lot of rabbits around here.
Rabbits and really large field mice too, and I've heard the coyotes will eat mice. I mean, some of the mice I see are like this big, so.
I used to rent my dog out to farms and chase the geese off the property.
Oh, we have that problem. You wanna come over?
I have 3 dogs, you can take them all, just feed them on the phone.
He just runs aimlessly all around.
Don't worry about anything. They're all herding dogs, they're all.
Oh, okay.
No, they get hurt, you can probably hurt a chicken, but we'll chase off. The one thing we'll do, but.
Oh.
Why don't we get started?
Okay.
Charlotte wants to get on first. We online there? We are? Okay, all right. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. If any member has reason to believe that this meeting is being held in violation of this act, they should state so at this time. Having none, we'll have a pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation.
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
is this, still, is that?
Dave, roll call, please.
Sure.
Minor.
So we got Michael,
Yes.
Councilman Bodnar, Christopher, Gretchen, Kimberly, Randall,
Here.
Justine,
Here.
Barbara, Sarah,
Here.
Charlotte.
Yay! All right, very good. Okay, we have minutes of January 28th. Anybody like to approve the minutes, please?
Motion
approve.
made.
There's a
I'll
second.
second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. That's, Charlotte, you wanted to say some stuff here. Why don't you get on, because I know we didn't get you on last month, so the floor is yours, okay?
Thanks so much. The first thing I'd like to mention, certainly we're all very proud that Gretchen has had 30 years at the Nature Center, instilling the love of nature and fostering it with young people all of that time. And so I'd like to talk about youth today and about nature. And she certainly gives us great hope for success in the future, still there with our next director. We're very happy that she's going to have more time with her family. But in terms of youth, I'd like to look at a couple of cases, legal cases, throughout the country, and one of which did strike me. A high school student in the state of, here, this one is,
You can make one up.
oh, no.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Illinois. And this just happened. A high school student there drafted legislation for the state's public school curriculum. And what she did, her name was Iris Shaddis Greengas. She drafted a climate change bill for a project that she was working on. The project advocated for mandatory climate education in the Illinois public school system. The bill was then championed by State Representative Janet Yang Rowe, and it passed in August and will go into effect next year. The bill's title stated that environmental and ecological impacts should not hurt the school children. So I'm going to continue looking at that legislation and very interested in school curriculum because in my teaching world, I was a part of that. Furthermore, in contrast, here in Florida, there's a much different outlook. A new science textbook was approved just last week in Sarasota, and in that particular school system, the books that the students are using for their curriculum went something like this. Last year, Ken Miller, one of the textbook's authors, a Brown University biology professor, reported being instructed by the state of Florida to remove certain references to climate change from his biology textbook. And so this is some stuff that we're dealing with here in Florida. And lastly, I just want to go back to those children that we talked about months ago in Montana. Children in Montana were looking to affirm that climate change was certainly impacting them in many, many ways. And what has happened in the meantime is that their lawsuit, 16 youth plaintiffs from across Montana have alleged that the state violated their constitutional right to a clean and healthy environment by promoting fossil fuel industry, which exacerbated the effects of climate change. And in the ruling clarifies that the Constitution, the state of Montana, has to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions, which are among the highest in the nation per capita. So we have quite a bit of difference throughout our states, but I must tell you that the state of Maine has students also working on curriculum and their rights to a healthy environment. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention today. The young people aren't just sitting by and letting things happen to them. They're taking the reins, and I think that they're extremely amazing. And it's happening in our own town when we have places like the Nature Center, which emphasizes the fact that everyone understands that from the green grass that we grow to the wonderful ocean waters that we have, that all need protection, including our youth. So that's my little discussion for you today, and I thank you for listening to that.
Charlotte, you wanted to say something about, you were looking at the Lafayette Street Park stuff. Did you say you?
Yes, I was.
Why don't you?
I thank you so much for forwarding that to all of us. You know, it's just an amazing project, and I'm thrilled to death that it's happening. But over the years, I know that the Shade Tree Commission certainly would probably like to see this project and make comment on it as well, in that there are trees that were removed during the cleanup. And that's not to say that that shouldn't have happened. It's just that perhaps the Shade Tree Commission would like to have certain species replaced there again. So.
All right, we'll, Steve.
Mike, can I address that?
Fine. Steve is here now. Steve will talk about that,
Okay.
Charlotte.
Hi, Charlotte. I apologize to everybody for being a couple minutes late. But yes, so the plant schedule that has been provided is also going to be provided to the Shade Tree Commission as well for their input into that.
Thanks a lot. That's terrific.
Sure, you're welcome.
Okay. Charlotte, anything else you want to say?
I thank you all. You know, if you'll just please ask our secretary, somehow I didn't get the minutes. So perhaps maybe he could send me January's minutes. That would be wonderful.
I think he's listening, and I think he'll send you a copy, okay?
Thank you.
All righty.
Have a great day, folks.
Okay,
Thank
Charlotte.
you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
All righty. Okay. Old business, we really don't have anything the planning board, we have a meeting tonight, we have an older application that has been, we'll be seeing the final results tonight to hear it. Otherwise, it's been pretty quiet at the planning board. Steve, you want to say anything? You want to say anything else?
Sure, yeah. Look, I'll just touch on the Phase 1, the construction project of Lafayette Street Park. It's, just to let everybody know and let the public know, the pre-construction meeting was last week for the park, and we anticipate that a notice to proceed is going to be provided to the contractor very soon. So I know we've been talking about that park, it sounds like forever, but, you know, we're actually at that point now. You know, the trails are obviously in process of being built, and the park is going to be starting very, very shortly. So just two aspects of that. One, they're going to be starting work on the park in the spring. Then when we get closer to the summertime, they're going to shut down work. So the work is not going to be proceeding over the course of the summer when we have most of our visitors in town, and they'll finish up the Phase 1 of the park in the fall. And this is the part where they're going to be putting in some aspects of walkway area, working on some of the green space. New dog park will be built. The bocce court will be built. For this group, as Charlotte mentioned, I circulated a copy of the plant schedule from the landscape plan. So if anybody does have any thoughts or comments, this is the time to provide that information. Whatever feedback that I have from you, I would actually ask if we could maybe funnel the information. I'd be happy to get it, but if everything could be funneled to David, so whatever feedback we have can be put into one concise package, so to speak, and then I'll forward that to the project engineer. Second, quickly, I think the last,
Who was the project engineer?
it's Vince Orlando's group. Yes, yes.
Okay.
So it's somebody from his office is overseeing that, but it's Vince's group.
Okay.
At the last Environmental Commission meeting, I mentioned about the city code amendment for controlling plastic dust and contaminants that's focused on contractors keeping clean work sites, cutting AZEC, Trek, plastic, cement board, and such. So that ordinance was passed last week at the city council meeting. So that will go into effect shortly after it gets published. Again, it's designed primarily at making sure that we have clean contractor sites. And from the contractor's standpoint, because I know there was discussions about enforcement, discussions about what they need to do. Essentially, the vast majority of that work will be if they have tarps on the ground underneath where they're cutting, and they have a vacuum system, a shop vac on location to maintain cleanup. That's essentially what the city is looking at to maintain clean sites and to take care of those materials. And code enforcement will be on the lookout just to make sure that they're maintaining clean sites.
Contractors have much public input? Did they, anything?
There was, this past, no, there was none.
Okay.
Actually, the only one person who did show up for the public comment actually brought up another issue that City Council is presently working on. And I was going to mention this. It's not quite ready for prime time. We haven't introduced it yet, but there's been discussion for an ordinance requiring the covering of dumpsters in transit that are leaving Cape May. So some nearby municipalities, I think Avalon was working on a similar ordinance, and we started looking at that as well. Candidly, we looked at the code, saw that there wasn't anything on there. You're supposed to have, when you have dumpsters on construction sites, they're to be covered so the wind doesn't carry debris all over town. But this would actually cover, pardon the pun, dumpsters and construction vehicles that would be taking construction debris out of town so it doesn't end up in roadways from a safety standpoint, doesn't blow into our waterways, doesn't blow into the harbors. Other communities, as I said, are picking up on this. Council has spoken with our solicitor. Chris Gillen Schwartz has drafted and circulated a proposed ordinance for our consideration, And city council's in the discussion stage at this point in time. I mention it, though, because it was discussed this past week at the city council meeting, because the one individual who showed up to talk about environmental issues actually was encouraging Cape May to support a resolution of that type. And I mean, the good news is we're already working on something along those lines. So hoping to be able to report back to the commission on something regarding an ordinance like that, one of our very, very close future meetings. The last item I just wanted to mention is the Columbia project is moving forward. I know we have a phone call tonight for a status update. I mean, honestly, the feedback and what we're seeing from Columbia is, I mean, Justine, you can feel free to jump in, but it seems to be pretty masterful. I mean, these are people who really, really know what they're talking about, know what they're doing, and I think that this is, I know I've said it before, this is not a school project. I mean, these are professionals who I think can provide us with some valuable input for consideration for the desal plant that Cape May constructs, from sustainability to the financial aspect of it, to many. Well, I think that they're looking at a very well-rounded approach. They're not building and designing a desal plant, but they're going to be able to give us some, I think, some valuable input. I know part of that is the water audit is a significant piece of what they are looking, and can provide valuable information for them in their project. And I know Justine is going to talk more about the water audit. So I don't have anything further, unless anybody has any questions for me about what I've discussed. That's what I have to report to us.
You're on, Kelly.
All right. So in terms of the water audit, it has been more difficult to motivate participants to complete the questionnaire and survey than anticipated. There were some hiccups, but then following that, some advocates of the document, but I don't believe at this point in time we have collected many of them. That said, they're not due yet, and we don't need that many for it to be valuable. Columbia said like even 24 would be helpful. So across our board and the HPC, who I know that John Becker asked to complete, and anyone else who we can contact to participate, I think we will be able to gather enough to make it a worthwhile endeavor. If you have not done it, it would be great if you could, and talk to friends in the community who may also be willing to complete the audit itself. If the log tables are too intimidating, the questionnaire alone is still helpful. So please submit them. As Steve mentioned, we do have a meeting this evening for updates. The Columbia group has split into subcommittees and teams where they're each focusing on different topics. You know, there's a hydrology team, a community team, et cetera. I did receive an email from the community team last night with some of their preliminary ideas on how to reduce demand on the system, which increases the longevity of our current desal plant, which we need to last until the new one is built, and then also eventually the longevity of the new one itself. So some of their ideas were geared toward education and the information or delivery of information. I discovered that everyone's water bill is public. I can log on just like property taxes. I can go on an open website, type in your name, and view your water bills. It is entirely entirely available for the whole world. So what's really interesting about that is that because it operates that way online, there's a Pay Now button that allows you residents to pay their water bill without ever actually viewing the details of their usage. They can view the PDF if they wish, but that Pay Now button is really big, and it's the first one there. So I venture to guess that a lot of people don't ever actually look at the
So the payment, your water payment history is public?
completely public.
Is your tax payment history public?
Property taxes, yeah.
I knew your assessment information was public, but I didn't know
It's
your
all,
actual
it's
payment.
all right there, yeah.
Interesting.
And it's not just Cape May City, I mean, Lower Township's the same way. You can search by block and lot number, you can search by last name, you can search by a specific address, and then you can see the different quarterly payments, bills, all of that. So I was curious, so I started Googling, like, you know, my parents' bill, our mayor's bill, Congress Hall's bill, you know, and what it was, and it's all
And
open.
what was the website on this thing? What was it?
It's right through the city.
The city's,
Yep.
in their water department or utility department?
There's an opportunity there to shame people.
Yeah, right. So what this brought to attention for me is that people think this is, you know, closely held information. It's not. But also that Columbia doesn't need residents to submit their water bills. They can get it. The Columbia team can get it themselves. What they did subsequently then request from me is, because all of this is public, it's all presumably stored in a database somewhere. And so while the questionnaire and log is useful, if they just had access to the database and could search, like, you know, sort the information, they wouldn't need residents to be filling out these questionnaires as much, because it's all public record anyway. But so some of their recommendations were related to changing the interface so that you couldn't actually pay unless you viewed your usage, or changing the fee tiers. Right now, there's like a flat fee and then anything above that, but maybe creating tiers of usage, separating commercial and residential, which there's currently it's not. So the city, they haven't presented it yet. It's very preliminary. They're still trying to figure out how to use like flow of information, graphic design, visuals, and then also tiers to help people become more aware of usage and therefore reduce demand. But that's just the community team. So we'll have more to report on the
I
rest.
mean, if you were looking to educate the people about how they use their water and whatnot, that's entirely different, but you're right. If they have all this knowledge, right, they know exactly how much water we're using.
They know how much in total
Yeah.
each household is using. They don't have the more nuanced information from the questionnaire, but they are able to go ahead and get started at understanding, you know, a lot about the totals, and how that changes across the different quarters of the year. So I am going to ask Paul after this meeting if there's some way, I mean, that information has to be stored somewhere on a server or a database. I mean, is there a site that can be logged into or not? But there must be, and it's all public anyway, so.
It doesn't sound like it's going to be a heavy lift either, based off the number of surveys. So I would encourage you to have that conversation with Paul.
Okay,
So
great.
we can talk about that a little bit more, too.
Okay, fantastic.
And when do you want when do you want the audit and the questionnaire back?
The
When
end
do you
of
want
the end of the month.
Okay.
So, you know, ideally this week, but if we have to push it, we will. It's more about getting the information at all rather than, you know, having a hard deadline. David, have any been returned to you? No. Yeah, it's been really difficult to get people to do it. I think they're intimidated by the length of the document, which it's actually not very long. It's just how it visually appears. It's all double spaced, which was a suggestion during our last environmental commission meeting to make it spaced out so people had space to write on it. But in doing so, it turned a 2-page questionnaire into a 4-page questionnaire, which now people look at and they're upset it's 4 pages. So, it feels like we can't win, but, even if we get 24 people to do it, it will help.
Okay. You done?
Yeah.
Under new business, ANJAC discussion? Somebody had some issues about ANJAC?
There was questions about renewing our membership. And I was asking about what are the benefits of NJAC and what we've done in the future, in the past, and what we'd like to continue with them. I think it's something maybe Charlotte brought up, I think perhaps, or maybe even Gretchen, about continuing it. I have their information with me, but they just want to have some history of what we've done with them and the benefits.
I know I know the city would pay for the membership of every individual. I remember that. They would do that.
Okay.
I don't know whether it's been done lately or not. I really don't know.
No, so the membership is due for 2025,
Okay.
and something you want to continue with.
Oh, yeah, look, let's continue that, unless nobody has a problem with
Okay,
giving money to ANJAC, I don't think,
okay.
okay? And another new business was Gretchen's and Hope's retirement discussion. Does somebody have something they would like to talk about that? It's all new to me.
Yeah, I think Charlotte brought it up. I
Okay.
think it was supposed to have been discussed last meeting, we ran a little bit long, but I think Charlotte, last meeting wanted to bring up Gretchen, but I think she did in the beginning, so.
We'll carry it forward to next meeting. I'm not sure what that's all about. Short meeting today. Anybody have anything else they want to say? No public discussion. All right.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn?
So made.
Second?
Second.
Okey dokey. All adjourned. Mic's off.
So, Justine, this would be okay to complete and get it back to you?
Let me see.
I think you may have amended it.
Oh, yeah, it got changed, so I can send you the new one.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay,
That-
yeah.
So